24/7. I'm Arjun Samar Mahendran, and here's what the world is waking up to this Wednesday morning. Racist attacks peak against Indians abroad. A 70-year-old Sikh man brutally attacked in LA, left in coma. India Day event delayed in Ireland over racist attacks. Zelensky makes big claim days ahead of Trump-Putin Alaska summit, underlines Ukraine will not cede Donbass, warns Russia could use land as springboard for new war. At least 23 arrested after National Guard arrives in Washington, D.C. amid Trump's federal takeover. It took 5 years in the making, but India-China to resume direct flights in September in major thaw. And Shubman Gill scripts another cricketing history, becomes first cricketer to win 4 ICC Men's Player of the Month awards. But our focus this Wednesday morning on World 24/7 viewers. Racist attacks targeting members of the Indian community are drawing global outrage. Now, in the latest in Los Angeles, a 70-year-old Sikh man, Harpal Singh, remains in a coma as we get to this bulletin after a brutal assault near a Gurudwara. He was in fact struck repeatedly with a golf club in what many are calling a hate crime. While a suspect has been arrested, the Sikh community is demanding the authorities officially recognize the racial motivation behind the attack. Listen in.
It's been 1 week since this brutal assault happened. We do not have answers. The suspect is at large. Right. But let me tell you, today I spoke with LAPD Commander-in-Chief Jim McDonnell, and he assured me that the LAPD is leaving no stone unturned. That means, and that includes, all theories are on the table. We do not yet know what the motive was and if the motive involves hate or bias. I am making a plea to you on behalf of Mr. Singh. If you have any information, whatever information you have, you can leave an anonymous tip. The number is 1-800-222-8477.
Now, that was Los Angeles, but that's not the entire story. In fact, it's not even half the story. Across the northern border in Canada, disturbing footage showed how a group of teenagers, in fact, harassed an Indian couple with racial slurs and threats. Now, one 18-year-old has been arrested and charged with a hate crime. Now, the video has sparked widespread condemnation and renewed calls to address rising hate incident in the country. Meanwhile, over in Ireland, a major cultural celebration, the India Day, has been postponed or has been forced to be postponed due to a surge in racially motivated attacks, now including one involving a young Indian child as well. The Irish president, meanwhile, has strongly condemned the violence, urging action against growing xenophobia. As incidents rise across borders, viewers, communities are demanding not just action from authorities, but they're demanding accountability. My colleague Maha Siddiqui, meanwhile, joins me for more on this from Vancouver. Maha, we've seen a spike in attacks and hate crime against the Southeast Asian community, specifically Indians. We also saw what the Conservative Party is saying over there in Canada. Does there seem to be more than, are these incidents more than just scattered? Is there a pattern to all of these incidents?
Well, there has been an anti-immigrant sentiment that has been rising in Canada ever since after the COVID pandemic, since the economic situation in Canada has seen a downturn. There has been a housing crisis, there has been a rising inflation, and mostly we have seen in cases of this nature without any evidence, the first set of people who are blamed for all these problems, and it is politically convenient as well. In countries, it is to blame the immigrants. And that kind of sentiment has risen in Canada, even though the Canadian government now recognizes this as a worrying factor and a matter of concern, considering that for 5 decades, Canada welcomed immigrants with open arms. They are concerned as to why there has been a turn in that sentiment in Canada, which was not seen as we have seen in other countries, specifically down south in the United States. Now, this matter particularly that has come to light from Scarborough, we have seen one arrest already in this matter. One 18-year-old has been identified in the case, though there were at least two other youth along with him in that car, and they had harassed and also made racial comments, racially motivated comments against the Indian couple in that parking lot in Scarborough. This 18-year-old has been arrested, who's been accused in this case, is from the Gawata Lake region,
Right.
and also he will be presented in, or he has to present himself in court on the 16th of September. So certainly worrying there, and the Canadian government will now have to see how to address this issue.
That's precisely, not just justice, but accountability, as we said, has to be doled out. Thank you so much for getting us the latest, Mahana. We shift our focus with that to the Far East, where the world is counting down to the August 15 Trump-Putin Alaska meet. But Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky is standing firm. He's saying in the latest that Ukraine will not give up any land to Russia. He's warning that it would only fuel another future war. Zelensky has rejected any deal that would see Ukraine withdraw from parts of Donbas, calling it a potential launchpad for a new Russian attack or multiple attacks in the days to come. Now, this comes as Russian sabotage groups have breached Ukrainian lines in eastern Donbas, advancing 6 miles in just 3 days. Ukraine's military, meanwhile, says it's deploying reinforcements to hold the front. Zelensky has also revealed that Russia may be preparing a new major offensive this fall with 30,000 troops. Now, despite the tension, Zelensky expressed hope that the U.S. could still play an honest mediator. But for now, the battle for Donbas is far from over. And to shed more light on this, I'm joined by Professor Andrew Latham. He is the Professor of Political Science at York University's Macalester College. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Professor. For the benefit of our viewers, I'd like you to underline the sheer importance of Donbas. And, if Russia takes control of Donbas, how would it bolster Russia and weaken not only Ukraine, but also the European Union?
Well, the status of the Donbas oblasts or provinces are enshrined in both Ukraine's constitution and in Russia's constitution. They both claim that this is sovereign territory, the one sovereign under Kyiv, the other one sovereign under Moscow. So that's in a sense, one of the roots of this conflict. They have this mutually irreconcilable claim to Donbas. Now, if Russia prevails, and any sensible military analyst will tell you that they are prevailing on the battlefield, this is going to change the security calculus in Europe. We already see the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, being very concerned about future Russian aggression. Poland as well, which is now the European superpower in military terms. They're spending 5% of GDP on defense. So it's going to change the European security calculus. It remains to be seen to what extent, and it remains to be seen to what extent the United States is going to continue to play a role in shaping and policing that security calculus.
So thank you so much for weighing in there, Professor. And I have to move on due to the paucity of time. We shift our focus to Europe, where UK PM Keir Starmer is in fact set to co-chair a key international meeting on Ukraine. He will join a virtual call alongside Ukrainian President Zelensky, French President Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Now, the discussion follows recent talks with US President Donald Trump and European leaders focused on ending the war in Ukraine. Later, Starmer will also lead the coalition of the Willing meeting. It's a group of 31 countries backing Ukraine's fight for peace and security. We shift our focus westwards, where the White House says 23 people have been arrested in Washington, D.C. after a massive law enforcement surge on Monday night. President Trump deployed National Guard troops and took control of D.C. police, raising concerns about similar actions in other cities. Now, around 850 federal officers and agents have been sent into the city. They made arrests for crimes, including homicide, drug trafficking, and gun violations. 6 illegal firearms were also recovered as per media reports. Meanwhile, the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has said this is just the beginning of a month-long federal crackdown on crime. Meanwhile, Mayor Muriel Bowser has said she will work with federal authorities to make the most of the extra resources. However, critics say and maintain Trump's move is an attack on local control and a distraction from political issues. Meanwhile, Trump says he may take similar action in cities like Chicago, New York, and even Los Angeles. Meanwhile, here's what the DC mayor had to say.
We have been working collaboratively. I think this is going to be a good effort. It's going to be an effort that's supported by both teams, the Metropolitan Police Department, as well as our federal partners. As you know, we work daily with them. What we've done at this point is we have provided the team, the administrator, with a strategic plan on how we will provide resources around our city. I think it's something that is doable. We know that we have to get illegal guns off of our street. And if we have this influx or enhanced presence, it's going to make our city even better.
Shift our focus to the Middle East, where Israel is reportedly in talks with South Sudan to relocate Palestinians from Gaza. Now, it's a plan PM Benjamin Netanyahu calls voluntary migration, and in fact says it aligns with US President Donald Trump's vision as well. Meanwhile, Gaza is now facing a deadly new threat, and it's called antibiotic-resistant infections. Now, this has war, hunger, and a shattered health system fuel a medical crisis. In fact, a new study reveals 2/3 of patient samples from one of Gaza's only working labs contained drug-resistant bacteria. The WHO says the health system is catastrophic, with overcrowded hospitals and blocked aid. Israel, meanwhile, says it has sent medical supplies and support aid, but access remains limited due to Hamas. We stay with the Middle East, where Iran could hold direct nuclear talks with the US if conditions are suitable. First Vice President Mohammad Reza Arif said on Tuesday. But he also added that US demands for Tehran to drop uranium enrichment entirely were a quote-unquote joke. A sixth round of talks between Tehran and Washington was suspended following Israeli and American strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities back in June, on 3 nuclear facilities to be precise. Now, both powers accuse Tehran of seeking nuclear weapons. It's an accusation Tehran has repeatedly rejected. And it's time we step into a short break. Much more on the other side.
Rajasthan is history, culture, and much more. And I have been reporting on all things royal for more than 25 years.
The colors, the culture, and the complexities of the Northeast is different from the rest of the country. I have been bringing the Northeast closer to the capital for over 15 years. Madhya Pradesh is the heart of India, and I have been capturing its every beat for over 10 years, covering the corridors of power, what is said, what is left unsaid, and what it actually means for you and me. I have it all covered.
Kashmir is often called paradise on earth, a region that has been in a state of flux from conflict to India's crowning glory. I have been reporting and decoding Jammu and Kashmir for last 3 decades.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry,
cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
And that's why it's being said that after Kahuna Pyare, this is the film that has got two superstar debutants who are becoming superstars. But what was this faith that you had on these two that that shows on screen?
You don't plan to make a blockbuster. You plan to make a good film. And that's what I think they never let me, they didn't put that pressure on me to live up to. They never gave me a number that we have to hit or a so-called figure that I have to open to. There was all these trappings were just not there, which normally producers do end up putting that pressure. Then you make wrong things. Then you add a song for a shadi song, add a Punjabi song. All these trappings were not there in this film. They were like, just go there and make your film. Do this script. We love this script and make it honestly. And I think the minute that happened, a filmmaker I could just spread my wings and just go out, not worrying about a few. I think when you do that, you get a little more fearless, and then that's what got picked up by people. So I cast appropriate for the film. I didn't cast thinking. I cast what felt right.
You were saying that you are going to say no to him.
Yeah. But that's his fault. Huh? He was behaving. Now that we can talk about the film, Krish Kapoor cannot be a timid, sweet boy.
Yes,
sir, how are you, sir?
Last time we spoke.
Yeah, and I was like, what is this guy? He was a sweet boy. And then by the end of the night, I could see the boisterous self, and I could see the Krish Kapoor who could stand on top and say, don't forget this name, it's Krish Kapoor. So I think I was looking for that a bit. I needed a spark of that.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
Welcome back. After 5 long years, India and China are set to resume direct passenger flights as soon as next month. Air connectivity between the two nations has been suspended ever since the COVID-19 pandemic. Indian airlines like Air India and Indigo have been asked already to prepare for flights to China on short notice. An official announcement, meanwhile, is expected during the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit at the end of August, where PM Modi, in fact, may also meet Chinese President Xi Jinping. Direct flights were stopped in 2020 following border clashes and rising tensions. Now, since then, travelers had to take long indirect routes through hubs like Hong Kong or Singapore. Over in Europe, at least 3 people have died in a scorching heat wave that is fueling dozens of wildfires across parts of southern Europe, forcing thousands of people from their homes. Red heat alerts have in fact been issued in parts of Italy, France, Spain, Portugal, and the Balkans, virtually covering all of Western Europe. It comes as a warning of significant risk to health as temperatures push above 40 degrees Celsius. That's correct. Now, Spain's weather service, AMET, has said temperatures could reach 44 degrees Celsius in Sevilla and Cordoba, while South Portugal could also hit 44 degrees Celsius. South Korean crypto mogul Do Kwon has pleaded guilty to fraud charges tied to a massive $40 billion crypto market crash. Now, Kwon, the co-founder of Terraform Labs and creator of the cryptocurrencies Terra USD and Luna, entered the plea in a New York federal court. Prosecutors say he misled investors in 2021 by claiming a faulty algorithm stabilized Terra USD's $1 value. Now, in reality, he secretly used a trading firm to prop up this price. The collapse wiped out billions and shook the global crypto market. Kwon now faces up to 25 years in prison, though prosecutors may recommend 12 if he accepts full responsibility. The White House is set to host an Ultimate Fighting Championship event next year as part of 4th July celebrations in the US to mark the 250th anniversary of the country's founding. The Octagon Cage Fight event was announced by UFC boss Dana White, whose friendship with the president dates back to the early 2000s when Trump hosted some of the first ever UFC events at his business properties. Now, White said he planned to meet with the president and his daughter Ivanka at the end of the month to finalize and flesh out the plans. In the world of sports, Indian Test captain Shubman Gill has won the ICC Player of the Month award for the month of July. Now, the cricketer aggregated 588 runs in the month across 7 innings in England, plundering 3 tons in the process. Now, he's also bagged the Player of the Match award in Birmingham for mounting match-winning scores of 269 and 161 against England. This report gets you more.
Shubman Gill, the Indian Test captain, is back in the news again. And this time, not for the mountain of runs he has scored, but because of the recognition that has followed. On Tuesday, he became the first male cricketer to claim the ICC Player of the Month title for the 4th time. In his debut assignment, leading the Indian team in the longest format of the game, the 25-year-old made a stunning tally of 754 runs at an average of 75.9. 567 runs and 3 tons came in the month of July, which includes his effort in the second test at Edgbaston, which saw him knock off 269 and 161. The tally of 430 runs in the match is the second highest aggregate total ever and the most runs a player has made in an away test match. He was named the player of the match in Edgbaston and India's player of the series. Shubman Gill beat Babar Azam to win the ICC POTM 4 times. He said, and I quote, "It feels great to be named the ICC Player of the Month for July. This time it holds a lot more significance since it has come from my performances during my first test series as captain. The double ton in Birmingham is obviously something I'll cherish forever and will be one of the highlights of my tour to England." Shubman will be back in India colours during the Asia Cup next month and will most likely take up India's T20 vice-captaincy. In New Delhi, Rika Roy for NDTV.
And New York City's longest-running public dance festival will commemorate India's Independence Day on the 15th of August by hosting an array of cultural performances focusing on the essence of Shakti, Nari Shakti, the female divine energy. We leave you with these visuals.